Sainer was out wide, far wide once, and Chase was in motion a little bit. How much have you guys experimented since the spring with different things you can do?
A bunch. You know, I think that position's just like probably any of the receivers in our offense, but that position's so unique because you can create mismatches just by where you line them up, and I think what's neat about it is the more those guys can do, the more we can use them in that way, and Coach Campbell's probably as good as anybody at figuring it out and getting them in the right spot. But really all three of those guys that are playing that Y spot are versatile in that way, which is what we've tried to recruit, you know, and all those kids played receiver and then have learned how to block and now can pretty much line up anywhere, which gives you an advantage on offense. It gives you a utility guy that can pretty much do all three things.
At Toledo, how much did you guys use like a 12 personnel or 22 personnel packages?
At times we used it a bunch when we had 2-3 guys that can do it. We've used linemen back there, you know, in as we've needed them in short yardage goal line situations. But when we had two, we used them a bunch. You know, towards the tail end of Coach Campbell's career there, they had two really good ones. Towards the end of my time there, we had two really good ones. So, you know, Coach always talks about playing the best 11 guys. If at the end of camp we got two guys that are two of the best 11, you'll see it a bunch.
You talked about Dylan Sainer's ability to run in the past. I mean, and he's 270 pounds. What I guess have you seen so far from him, and what can he do on the field when he gets out there? I know you've talked about the versatility with all the guys.
Yeah, Dylan, he's transformed his body in a really positive way. He's still 270, but is now understanding how to run at the rate we need him to at that weight. He's unique because he can be a mismatch in so many different ways in the run game and the pass game. He's made huge strides since a year ago and really since the work in the summer, and a lot of that credit goes to Kyle Kemp because that guy just worked with those guys every day and developed a relationship, because there wasn't a great one. We didn't use him in a lot of different ways, you know, a year ago. So a lot of the credit goes to Kyle and really the rest of those quarterbacks for developing those guys in the offseason, developing a chemistry and having trust. And Dylan's one of the guys that worked his tail off this summer.
It seemed like he got quite a few reps in November in the bowl game compared to what he was getting earlier.
Yeah, he started out the year playing 2 or 3 snaps a game, and again, Coach always says it, but we'd rather play guys too late than too early. And he was a guy that early wasn't ready and coming off shoulder surgery, and at the end of the year, shoot, those last couple of games, I remember even the Tech game and the Kansas game where we wanted to establish a physical presence. He did that for us in the bowl game. You talk about 4-minute offense, we finally were able to run the football to finish the game. And, you know, you talk about week 9, 10, 11, we weren't able to do that. And so I was proud of him being able to go in there and help us run the football. Joel Lanning had a lot to do with it too, but so did he.
What does last year's experience do to help Charlie put himself in that mix?
Yeah, Charlie's been fun to watch. Charlie's probably the most improved guy in that group. He, you know, goes with the same deal I just said. You know, you'd rather play him too late than too early. Through the first scrimmage a year ago, we thought Charlie would be ready to help us, and just kind of took a few steps back as camp went, and that happens. You're a freshman, you're 18 years old, and the grind of camp and the playbook and school starting, that stuff happens. I think he's figured it out. He's a really mature kid, really intelligent kid that has now figured it out. Hey, I just go to work every day and you know, continue to develop my process, and he's a kid that's through 4 days now that he is ready to compete. And I've been really impressed with Charlie. Every day he does something where you're like, whoa, okay, that's Charlie. You know, so, and I think in that room, the natural competition breeds that. We haven't had that, you know, where the natural competition breeds you to get better. They see Dylan make a big play, well, now I got to make a big play. Chase make a big play, I got to make a big play. And Charlie's falling right in line with that, competing his tail off. And, you know, I'd give Sam Seebuckner a lot of credit in that, too. He's probably the one guy nobody talks about. But that guy, it sets the tone for us from a physical aspect, and they try to match him. And, you know, you watch that guy practice. If Charlie could do what he's doing, holy smokes, we got a shot.
What are film sessions like with those guys?
You better be prepared going in that room now. And I say that in a funny way, but those guys are more prepared than you are sometimes walking in that meeting. They study, they know. You can't BS your way through an answer there. They ask a question, you got to know the answer. It's fun. It keeps you on your toes as a coach and as a teacher. They want to know why, they want to know how, and when you play that position, similar to quarterback, you got to know every piece of the deal. At tight end, you got to know every piece of the deal. We can line you up anywhere. You got to understand every blocking scheme, motion shifts. So you got to be intelligent. Those kids are, but you can also overthink it a little bit. Sometimes it's see ball, get ball, but you got to be a football player too. But those guys, they're fun, but you better be prepared walking in there. I think probably the biggest thing we tell those guys after we're done recruiting them is, we're going to teach you how to block somebody. We got to run the football. That's priority number one for us as an offense. Teach them how to block, and we recruit athletic kids that maybe have never had to block. Teach them how to block and then develop them in the pass game when that time comes. But you got to be able to line up and block people, whether it's on the perimeter or in the box. And so we teach them that. When they're ready to do that, they move on. Dylan Sanders is a good example of that. We asked him to block a lot a year ago. Now he's ready to do it all, you know.
So all three of those guys were basically receivers, flexed out in high school.
They were, yeah, they were.
You ever have anybody say, okay, forget this isn't going to be a good match, I want to go someplace and catch the ball?
Yeah, I think guys want the football. We talk a lot about it. You know, these guys probably didn't come to school here because they wanted to line up and block the ends all day, you know, but I tell them the truth when we recruit them. We're going to establish a physical run game. We're going out and getting running backs to establish a physical run game. We've never shied away from that. The sugar on top of it is that you're going to catch footballs, and you earn the right to catch footballs. You know, we talked about it a lot a year ago. Who are you going to take off the field, or who are you not going to throw to a year ago, right? And I just mentioned, if you're one of the best 11 guys that fits in the scheme, you're going to catch the ball. But as far as the recruiting goes, I don't know that my recruiting spiel starts with, we're going to line you up and block you. But just like with anybody that we recruit, you're going to get as your work deserves, and tell them the truth.
What do you want that position evolving into?
Yeah, we want the most versatile physical guy we can get in terms of, you know, it's not a fullback, it's a utility move, tight end. The more you can do, the better. You know, we've used Wise there. You know, I think Dylan Sanders probably the most versatile in terms of being able to play both. But we want a guy that's going to go clean up holes for running backs, protect, and then be able to get out and catch balls when needed. The more athletic, the better. I think as we transition that role, you know, I think we'd like to get as athletic as we can. Sam Buckner's sneaky athletic, though. You know, I think Sam is perfect for that spot. Cole, as he's gotten healthy, is doing a really good job there. But you want an athletic guy that you can sneak out in some pass game stuff and get him the football, but not necessarily somebody that'll stretch the field. You want a physical presence more than anything.